let's begin. So just as a reminder, your Canvas assignments will be due this evening please make sure you try to get them done before midnight. And we will do our best to grade them as promptly as possible. But there are quite a few of them to grade, so please be patient with us. So for the next hour, I'm going to talk to you about modules, pages, and activities. And then by the end of that, you're just going to say, oh my. So my name is Paige Durham. I am the instructional designer at Germanna Community College. And I have lots of chat facilitators today. I have Tim Hoffman from Rappahannock, Miriam Basinger from Blue Ridge, Aaron Leftwitz from Virginia Western, David Todd from the System Office, Sherry Prupus from the System Office, and Terry Milroy from Southside. So our agenda for this morning, we're going to talk about modules, our doors, and organization. Then we're going to talk about within the module, we're going to talk about pages. What do we want on the pages? Focusing content and what exactly is chunking. Then we're going to talk about activities. What can you do and what kind of interaction should you have inside your Canvas course, and active learning. And then of course, by the end, everybody's going to say, oh, ah. All right, let's begin with modules. To module or not to module? That is the question. So why module for class structure? Well, because it provides consistency and it really helps the flow of content. It shows progression. It also puts everything in one place. So you can spend less time having to put in directions for where to go and what to find, and then do this and then do that as your instructions. Whereas in a module, everything is laid out in a sequential fashion, and it is linear so that students just go from next to next to next. And all of this means what? It means fewer questions about where to find things from students. So if we think about Canvas itself, so Canvas organizes all of the tools within it differently. For example, discussions are ordered by time of the most recent comment. Assignments are listed in the order created unless they are grouped. And then again, if you add any new assignments, it changes the grouping, and then you have to go back and you have to regroup, or you have to look at the dates and you have to try to put them in order by date. Files are grouped as you build, otherwise there is no organization in your files area. Quizzes and discussions will appear on their own tool page. So, and assignments is a tool page, and everything is a tool page, and that's just too many doors for students to have to try to figure out where things are when they need to complete them. So, module organization. You know, you can do modules in a short version, which means the pages may be longer. So, but you're going to have to think about the structure within the page if you're using a shorter module, and you're going to have a header. And then, for example, if you're going to have a short module, that overview page may have internal pages linked to it. And also, you're going to have to discuss something about the module in the overview. So you're going to have an overview page, and then you're probably going to have a materials page and maybe other information and an activity of some kind, and then possibly a summary. The longer version of module organization is a module with a header, and then you're going to have an overview, and then you're going to have a reading list of related topics, videos, another handout maybe, some more information, links to relevant websites could be links within the module instead of embedded in a page. Instructions to rubrics for discussions or other rubrics, and then something else about the module, for example, a summary. So now we're going to pop over to Canvas and take a look at what that looks like. here we are in Canvas, and we have a Start Here module. So you want to make sure that you begin by introducing your students to your course and yourself. So a Start Here module is something that you should always have in your Canvas course. Some of your institutions may provide that Start Here module for you. However, I'm going to show you an example of the one we have at Germanna. So the first thing that students are going to come to is a welcome to the course page where there will be faculty information. Now this section of faculty information is something that is a little more personal than what you put in the syllabus. So you're going to want to say some things about maybe some hobbies or your favorite kinds of movies, and make it very personal and human. This is where you put that human element. This is also where you could put really fun photos that you might want to share with your class. Again, this section of the Start Here is about you as a person, so make it personal. Then your contact information and a contact policy, how do you prefer it, and so on. And then the next part is some numbered steps so that students know exactly what to do. So obviously read the course, then what do they need as far as materials are concerned. Then, okay, so maybe you also need to let them know about policies and resources that they have, technical requirements, a little bit about academic integrity, and a little etiquette, and then some communication expectations. And then the next thing is you want to include an introduction video that may very well also include a course tour. Then after that, a printable course schedule. A lot of students prefer to have it, that course schedule and simply on its own page rather than underneath the syllabus area in Canvas. Then some technical requirements, and then an introduce yourself discussion board. So that's your Start Here module. So that's a kind of introduce you, introduce yourself, and get your students to introduce themselves. Now let's look at the short and long versions of, I chose to do weekly modules. So for example, here is an overview of week 1. And then we have a module, material page, and some more information, and a discussion, and then a draft. And then the long version looks like this. So we have an overview, and then readings has its own page, videos has its own page, presentations have its own, etc. And here is a link that you could click on, and it would take students to a website. But I'm going to go back up here, and I want to click on overview. So within this overview, you're going to want to think about making it so that it has structure. So in Canvas, if we're going to create structure, I'm actually going to back out here. Actually, no, I'm going to click on all pages and click new page. So in this rich content editor, you have some very helpful tools at the top that help you provide that structure. So let's give this page a title. And then we're going to pop in here, and we're going to give it a heading 2, and except I can't spell. And then you can put in some more information, and let's say maybe you want to do some objectives. So maybe we'll type that. And again, I'm providing structure not by using any changing of font size. Notice that I'm not using the font sizes, but I am using the paragraph and heading structure to create that heading. So we're going to come back to this in just a minute. And I want to pop back over to the modules area. So if I want to add anything to a module. Let's talk about adding a module first. So obviously up here at the top, you click on the plus module, and then you can give it a name. You can always change it later. And here, once it's created, you would go over to the right and click on the plus to decide what you want to add, whether it is an assignment, quiz, file, page, discussion, text header, URL, or tool. All of that can be added within the module. So you don't have to go over to discussions, create a discussion, come back to modules, click on this, find the discussion, insert it in the module in the right place. So you can build from right within the modules. And now I have a little activity for you to complete. This activity is going to ask you to go to a course you've already taught and look about and how you've organized your modules. Did you do it the short version or long version? Was it organized? Was it in order? Was it, did you need to rethink about it? And then create a new module and think about how you're going to title your modules moving forward. Are they going to be weeks? Are they going to be units? And then put in an overview page in your new module, then create a blank discussion. You don't need to worry about putting anything in it, and create an assignment. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to do this, and if you have any questions, please remember that the parking lot is available to you. right, welcome back. So let's continue on. Hopefully you were able to think about that module organization and whether you prefer short or long. Okay, so what's in that module that you're going to be spending a lot of time building are pages. So focusing the content. Yes, your pages are going to be long. However, there is a great balance that can be done by need versus nice to avoid information overload. So this is where chunking comes in. So chunking and means that you're breaking content into smaller pieces, and that the fact more is not better. So you're going to think about the scope of the module, and then you're going to think about what is it that they need to know. So you're also going to think about what do they need to make them understand it. Not just about what is it that the content, but what things do they need provided to them. So when you're thinking about chunking content, you're thinking about written content as well as video content. You want to remember that short chunks repeated are better for students, and it helps them to engage in the material with it multiple times and multiple means, and it really helps become part of their long-term memory and not just live in that short-term memory that, you know, as we get older seems to go away so much faster. So chunk, however, is something that it is pieces of it, but you can put it all together to make a whole. So think about recipes. You know, each part of a recipe is necessary in order for you to complete the entire whatever it is you're cooking. And I'm a baker, so I always like to bake. So each little piece of that is necessary, but it is done separately, but then it all comes together to make whatever, a chocolate cake. So you're also going to think about your instructional resources. So this is, again, these are those things that you need to provide to your students. Are you going to create your own? Are you going to find your own? Are you going to use video? Are you going to use images? Is it copyright? Is it Creative Commons? Is it fair use? Remember that it is a means to an end and not the end. And since learners are very different, as we all are, and very unique, we need to provide content to them in a variety of ways. So we need to have text, and we need to have videos, and we need to have images. But all of those things are together, and they need to be varied, but not any one kind is also not what we want. So we don't want all videos or all text or all images. So what's on a page? So anything that you can think of, you can put on a page in Canvas. And the key to creating those pages is the Rich Content Editor. Everyone should now be using the new Rich Content Editor. So hopefully my Rich Content Editor will look like yours. So now we're going to pop back over to Canvas. And we're going to go back to that page that I started. So I'm going to go into, I'm going to take a look at this overview for week 2 page. And notice how clear this page is. There is a table within this page, as well as these are headings. So they're not just randomly, so that if a screen reader were reading this, it would be very easy for it to understand the structure of the page. And as you scroll down, notice, and then there's a bulleted list and things like that. So you want to think about these kinds of things for your overview page. The other thing you want to think about is you can create structure with text headers also within a module. And we'll go over that in just a second. So I'm going to click on View All Pages. And I'm going to pop back over to the page that I created. And this course obviously has a lot of pages in here. It would have been helpful if I didn't put my name that started with P. All right, so here we are back at the page that we started earlier. So again, I used the overview for week 3. I could also use the tools up here to align it and center it in the page. I'm going to start actually by putting in here just a kind of overview for the whole week, and then I would include some information about what we were going to be doing and why. Excuse me. And then the next section that I would choose to do. So this is, if you notice, heading 3. So if I just tab down a little bit, I'm going to leave some spaces. And then I'm going to put in readings. So any kind of material, whether it's going to be web-based or e-text or content that's going to be within a page. Then I'm going to add a video. And then I'm going to add an activity. And then I will add some assignments. And I like pictures, so I'm going to go back up here to the top, and I'm going to go over in the Rich Content Editor, and I'm going to click on the little image icon. I'm going to click Upload Image, except I actually want to find one already on the internet, so I'm going to type in this, and I have no idea what I'm going to find. Oh, I like that one right there. So I'm going to click on this picture and click Submit. Obviously that picture is very large, so I'm going to make it smaller. And then I'll change it to center, and I'll make it a little bit smaller again. And now I have added an image. Now if I click on this image, and then above it you see image options, and I click in that, I have some alt text that has been provided for me. So notice that it is a snow-covered mountain during daytime. That is a very descriptive way to describe it, and that you can leave, and you should always have alt text with your images. So I'm going to click Done. And under assignments, maybe I want to add another image. Again, obviously it's a very large image, and I want to make this one very small. I just want to add some things in here. So I've all of those, and one thing that I left out, obviously, for this module is objectives. So I'm going to pop back up here, and since I forgot it, I'm going to toggle down a couple times, click on this, click in objectives, and I will use a bulleted list. And however you want to do your objectives, put the bulleted list under there. And under videos, let's say I want to add a YouTube video. So if I go up here to the little plug, click on the plug, scroll down, click on YouTube, wait patiently, and put in a YouTube video that you could find one. Just remember that you need the title for this. So and I see here's one, and I'm just going to click embed. And now I have put in an embedded video, and notice that she's on the wrong line. So if I put my cursor right after videos and hit enter, it will move it below it. And I could also, if I wanted to, add a studio video the exact same way. So I click on the plug, click on studio, and select a video to put on the page. So that is how you can build a page. Obviously, it did not like whatever I did, so but that's okay. All right. Now it's time for you to give it a try. For your second activity, you are going to go to your sandbox, open your overview page, create a rough draft or outline, and you're going to give the title page heading 2, objectives heading 3, readings, videos, activities, whatever you choose to order. You can put a bulleted list, add an image, make sure it has alt text. You can add a YouTube video, and you can also add a studio video. And again, 3 minutes and ready. Okay, let's keep moving. So When you're thinking about building your pages, think about that overview page as kind of a starting point. So you're going to ask yourself, what do my students need to know to successfully meet those learning objectives that you put on there? What types of content will students use to learn what they need to know? And does the content have interaction, or is there anything in there? So could one of those quizzes, videos had a quiz? Is the content accessible? And did you check for any copyright issues? Now we're going to talk about activities. So different types of interaction and of course active learning. So what are the three different types of interaction? Student to student, student to faculty, student to content. So what are examples of each of those? I've listed tons of these here and I really don't want to read them to you. I'm just going to highlight a few. So for example, student to content, that's really the easiest one because it's reading, it's videos, it's quizzes, it's tutorials, all that kind of stuff, it's simulations. Student to faculty, providing feedback, participating in discussions, online meetings, things like that. And student to student, group projects, case studies, peer interaction, peer reviews, those kinds of things, and brainstorming. And of course, Zoom is great for breakout rooms for student to student. Discussion boards are not the only thing for student to student interaction. So student to content, which is better? End of the unit quiz or some self-checks along the way. Video, or just watching it and then seeing if the students watched it all using the insights that are in Studio, or maybe a non-graded some non-graded questions that are embedded within the video. And then concept mapping, or just having raw data in a table form that students have to, try to figure out what to do with it. So here's some more ideas. So gamification, making it like a game. A lot of students spend a lot of time gaming. And if you've ever been a gamer, you know that what keeps you drawn in are the system that they have for small rewards that end up for a larger reward. So it's each little thing that you get rewarded for within the game so that you can get to that next level. Level up, that's a really big thing. So you're as well as a choose your own adventure. So, we used to have the choose your own adventure books. You could pick a different page and decide which way you wanted the character to go. You can do that as well with Google Forms. You can do some ungraded quizzes for self-checks so that students can use those to prepare themselves for the assessment. Scavenger hunt. You could have it either a web-based scavenger hunt, or you could actually have a course scavenger hunt, or even maybe an institution scavenger hunt. As well as web quests where students could complete projects where they and then present it to the class. So now let's pop over to Canvas. Of course, I say that and my popping is not very fast. And here we are back in Canvas. And notice that before, if you don't remember, before you did your activity, this page was looking a little bit strange. So strangely enough, when I clicked save, it fixed whatever problems it seemed to be having. All right, so I'm going to go back to modules. And I'm going to go to, I'll just go to the week 1. And I'm going to click on the plus. And I'm going to add a new assignment. And I'm going to call this assignment a draft. And I'm going to click add item. Now, I called this draft because I want to show you how to make an assignment a draft using Turnitin and peer reviews, because that helps students build that student-to-student interaction, as well as it provides that practice before the assessment. So I'm going to click on the assignment, and then I'll click on Edit. Wait patiently. You would need to put some instructions. And if you are going to use this as peer reviewer, then I suggest that you also put those instructions in the body of the assignment. We'll make it worth some points. Doesn't matter what it is. The next important part, however, is the submission type. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to choose online. And then I'm going to choose File Upload, and that's the only box I'm going to pick. And then I'm not worried about submission attempts, plagiarism review. And here you're going to click on this and choose Turn It In. Now, because this is a draft, you do not want to store the paper in the standard paper repository. So you're going to have to choose the other option by clicking on the drop-down and choosing Do Not Store the Submitted Papers. From here, you have the choice as to what Turn It In will check. So it can check all student repository, website, periodicals, journals, publications. You can choose to exclude some things. You can also choose to enable the grammar checker. And I would choose the option for advanced, and I would choose both, and I will check all of these. And I'm going to leave this as show report to students immediately. And then I'm going to check the box for require peer review. And when you get to this, you have two choices. You can manually assign, so you can choose which students grade other students' papers, or you can choose automatically assign. When you choose automatically assign, obviously you have some new options here. How many reviews per user, and then what date do those reviews get assigned, and then also you have a box to choose whether or not the peer reviewers will be remain anonymous. And then you scroll down, you could put in a due date as well as availability dates, and then you click on save. It's not gonna let me do that because I didn't. All right. So now we have created an assignment that is a draft that has peer review. So we are doing two things with interaction in a single assignment. Now it's your turn. For this activity, you are going to add an assignment as a draft with peer reviews. So you're going to have 3 minutes, and again, if you don't get this done, don't stress it. Just think about how you might do this within your Canvas course. Okay, let's keep on moving. All right, so now student to faculty, which is better? Course announcements or private email message? Well, I guess it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Recorded lecture or live class webinar? Again, not sure. Comments or video feedback? Are you a participator in the discussion boards or are you a watcher? And do you allow students to comment on announcements? So all of those things are things to think about that are possible in Canvas. So you can do all of those, and that would give your students both opportunities for real-time interaction with you as well as asynchronous interaction. So more ideas. So when you're in a Zoom session with students, are you using live questions? Are you having polls? Do you have breakout rooms? What kind of feedback are you providing on papers? Are you providing audio feedback, video feedback? Is it all text? Are you using the annotation tool inside of SpeedGrader? In the announcements, are they personable? Or is that where you provide some more of yourself? You know, maybe some humor or some GIFs or a video or something. Are you providing draft papers so that students have that ability to test out their ideas before they are assessed on them and make sure, you know, that they're heading off in the right direction? And also gives you the opportunity to think about, is there something that they're missing that they need that you should provide to them before that assessment takes place? And then, of course, always an FAQ discussion. So let's go back to Canvas. And now I'm going to pop back over here to modules. It's a very interesting way that it's spelled modules, but that's okay. And this time I want to add a discussion, but you know what? I know that the discussion is not something that is specific only to me. It's something that maybe some other people have done, and they were so very kind and they may have put it in the Canvas Commons. So I'm going to pop over now to the Canvas Commons. I'll wait just a minute. And I'm going to click on, the first thing I'm going to do is click on filter. So when I open the filter here, I'm going to see what choices I have. I know specifically right now, I am looking for a discussion. So I'm going to click on discussions, and that will filter out everything else. So now I'm going to put up here in the search bar, classical composers, and let's just see what comes up. Nothing. That's awesome. Let's look up composers and see what else we get. Nope. Let's make it a little bit broader. Here's a great one, A Life Without Music. So I don't really know what this is about. So a couple of things I can see is that 44 people have downloaded it. So that's kind of good. And we're going to click in here for a preview. Looks like a pretty good. I might want to change it some, but I think I like it. So now I'm going to go over here to import download. Click on that. And I'm going to type in, check the box of the course that I wanted to go in, and I'm going to click import. So now it tells me that I have successfully started to import. And now I'm going to go back to my dashboard. And scroll down until I get to the course where I think it went. Now, one of the things that you will notice about Canvas Commons, it told me that it would send it to the course. However, it didn't tell me I could put it somewhere. So I'm just going to go into discussions to see if it's here. And it is. So here I can see this is the discussion that I just imported. And I can also click on edit and make some changes to this if I chose. I could also embed these YouTube videos differently. And I think I'm going to keep it. And now I want to go put it in a module. So I'm going to go back over to modules and I'm going to go to week 1, short version, and I'll click on the plus. And then I'll click on the drop down. And since this discussion has already been created, I now have to find it in my list and click add item. And there it is. And now I could move this further up in the week, if in the progression, if I wanted to. So that's how you can add a discussion from Canvas Commons, which could save you some time if you think it's already been created. So this activity, I'm going to change just a little bit due to time. I do want you to, however, go over to Canvas Commons and take a look and see if you can find any discussions that would work for your content area. I'm going to make this a 2-minute activity rather than 3. Ready, set, go. Okay, hopefully you were able to find some things in the Canvas Commons for your specific content area. So student to student. So we've talked a little bit about peer reviews. We talked about discussions. Think about structured chats or icebreakers. You can also have Zoom sessions and breakout rooms, and you can use Google Docs that are shared, and you can do Google Slides that they can do a collaborative presentation. So here's some more ideas. Questioning during Zoom sessions, participations, feedback, studio videos, announcements. Again, all of these things are to help you get your students ready for that interaction in an online environment, which is different. So we have to remember that we might be very comfortable in an online learning environment, but our students may not. So we need to have planned activities that help them build their confidence. throughout. So I'm going to skip this activity. It is adding a group discussion. There will be information in the Canvas course on how to build a group discussion. But now I want to get into active learning. So if you've noticed throughout the presentation, I've done maybe 10 or so minutes of talking, and then I gave you an activity where you could apply what you've heard. That's something that we want to keep in mind when we are having these sessions with our students, especially if they're real time and we are having fully synchronous Zoom classes. We want to make sure that we build in those activities. So active learning fosters engagement, as well as it helps the student apply what they're hearing or reading. And then some questions when you are thinking about that active learning strategy. What skill are my students, what am I trying to teach them to do? And is it going to be assessed at the end of that session, or is it going to be later? Also, where is the practice for that skill? Have I done it as a peer review? Have I put it in as an ungraded survey? What have I done? And then I also want them to think about what they have learned. So what was the most helpful? Was it the video questions? So that in the future, I can prepare those activities for my next class. So here are some more strategies. So polling, you could do that using a doodle poll. If you wanted to know when students could meet, you could do a poll inside of Zoom when you're having a session. You could do a think, pair, share. You could do a minute paper during a Zoom session where you've passed out or you've sent out a link to a Google Doc for each group, and they have to work on it, and then they have to come back and report. So here's some more. So some small group discussions. Again, you could, in a breakout session in Zoom, presentation. So you could have them prepare a group project asynchronously and then have them present it to the class synchronously. You could also do empathy mapping. So you could use them to pull in about what thinks and feels and does, especially during this time of COVID-19. That would be a great activity. And I am not going to read these to you, but there are more. So all of these things are ways to incorporate active learning into the online environment. And for a Canvas course, I think because we are 4 minutes to go, I'm going to skip this. But I do want to say that one of the things that you could do is an icebreaker. You could ask your students in a survey that the other students don't see some things about them, and then you could have a PowerPoint presentation that puts a few of those things on a slide, and then your students could play Guess Who. So that would help them figure out who's in their class, and as an icebreaker activity, it would really help them become involved in the course. And then that is bringing it all together. And when you've done that, you're going to say, oh my. So in summary for today, we talked about modules, consistency, progression, organization. We talked about pages, focusing that content and chunking it. And then we also have to think about, on top of the main thing is need versus nice. And then activities. Types of interaction, student to student, student to faculty, and student to content. Our online courses should include all of those different types of interaction. And again, we want it to be active learning. So how can I build in those active learning strategies in my online environment to help foster that engagement, not only with the course content, but with me and their other students? And then again, we are aligning all the parts. So as we move up the light bulb, so to that ta-da factor, we have now worked on taking our module objectives, and then we are thinking about building those activities that support those objectives. Tomorrow, we're going to cover best practices and developing meaningful assessments. And I would like to remind you again that the Canvas course assignments are posted. And please take some time today and try to get them completed before midnight. And if you have any questions, please use the Canvas inbox. We will do our best to answer them promptly. And let us know how we did. If you have a chance, take some time and go and fill out our survey. And I really appreciate all of you coming, and I hope you have a great day.